From the heart of Singapore, where innovation meets design, Illuminating Asia has been redefining how light shapes spaces and experiences. With a passion for storytelling through illumination, our works have reached homes, heritage landmarks, and global award stages. Today, we are honoured to share that journey as part of the HKTDC community, inspiring connections, creativity, and the future of lighting.
Asia Singapore Private Limited to come on stage. Mr. Tay, please.
Wow, nice crowd. Very much more bigger than in Singapore. Thank you so much for Hong Kong Lighting Fair inviting us from Singapore here to present our perspective in lighting and lighting design all the way till supply, install, and completing the job. So, before I start, a little bit about Illuminating Asia is not only do we go for lighting competition, but we get involved in all kinds of lighting projects, whether it's hospitality, industrial, commercial, residential, even public landscape lighting settings. Now, what we're trying to do here, most of the time, is to connect a space to the people that is using the environment. So it's not just about lighting, it's about people. And that's where we then go into understanding the environment, understanding the people, the usage, and using lighting as a medium to connect everything together with the environment and people together. So along which I'm going to be sharing some of our perspective, how we do our work. Hopefully we can engage with the crowd over here, with all the suppliers here as well, and see how we can make some magic for the projects for our clients as well. So you are going to be seeing pictures of our projects, example something like this here. This is in Singapore Design Orchard. It's a public space, commercial retail space. Sometimes beautiful lightings need not be expensive. That's where lighting designers comes in to understand the concept of what the space seek to stand out for. So something like that with just LED filament bulbs, space it across, do it very much like a US Broadway style, but in Singapore context. Here, what you see is Singapore Gardens by the Bay. That's many years ago when I started out as a lighting consultant or lighting designer. What we do here is we represented UK in a garden festival, a competition. This is also one of the first few times in the lighting history where we combine Arduino programming, so very small microcontrollers, cheap student stuff, put it all together, connect it with a LED lighting technology, and bam, this is where it is. We flood the space, create a moonlight sonata experience to an otherwise green environment. Next up here, this is a very close-up showcase. Take a look closely at the back of the wall. It's actually mirror. At the front of the mirror, there's a little bit of a pond. How do you want to use lighting to enlarge the space? How do you want to use lighting to make somebody feel that the space stands out and have its own character, has its own unique experience? That is what, as a lighting designer, sometimes we go further into not just design, but the psychology of what a person will experience when they see, smell, hear the space. A little bit of how we do our work as well, so as to appeal to all our peer in the industry and also our supplier friends. This is where it is. As a lighting designer, sometimes we don't just design the space. Well, I'm sure in the audience here, there are a lot of very experienced, highly qualified designers. But what we do here is we add in the engineering methods of statement to connect the dots on how a design will manifest itself, materialize itself into a physical form. That is where we bring the contractors, suppliers, system integrators, all working hand in hand on the same frequency as us, the consultant, working with the landlord or the client to enliven the space. So this is also one of our award-winning projects in Singapore, Hopper Villa, a 8.5 hectare heritage space, sculptures that you cannot touch. Any lighting that you shine on a sculpture, you even need to be worried that the heat will decolorize the painting, the colors of the sculpture. That is how scientific we need to do our work sometimes, beyond just lux level, color tone, temperatures, and things like that. So this is it. Some parts of the park, well, it's an 8.5 hectare land size, right? So we have 95% of the space lighting up general lighting, footpath, sculptures, plaques, storyboard, and stuff. But there's a good 5 to 10% where we add some colors to make the whole place dynamic. Sometimes it's not just about 3000K applied across the whole space. Adding a little bit of colors, and fortunately with LED technology today where you can make the lights move, you add energy to the space. So that's how we try to use lighting to connect with people as well, to also bring out the value of the space. Next up, another project in Chimes. Likewise, another heritage conservation space. Somehow, the moment once you get one project, it leads on to the other. Something like here, we need to integrate a unique lighting experience to a otherwise commercial heritage public space where you actually have restaurants all across this area. So how do we combine lighting with the space? Sometimes it's not just about how well you know lighting, but it's about how much you know of the space that you need to light it up. So in this case, we play with the trees, as what you see, by adding the LED strips to the trees, by getting the strips connected to the lighting control systems, we make the lights move. So literally, you try to imagine running lights, DMX lighting strips, with little diodes running from the bottom of the tree all the way to the tip of the tree and come back down again. So this is also one of our, in Milan, one of our award-winning projects, where we demonstrate the vines, the blood, within the trees, how it flows, using lighting. So with that itself, a close-up picture. So you imagine the lights moving up and down. It represents how the trees are actually alive, even at night, with colors, yeah. Next up, well, a very typical built construction. We're a lighting consultant. We don't just do creative, artistic lighting. That's, well, something I love to do, but bread and butter comes as important. So we light up mixed-use development, 60 floors, 70 floors, 80 floors, landscape, facade, and sometimes what we're trying to do here is to take care of the basic lighting needs. And it has to be from how things look like from the top down. Top down meaning, if you stand at the 50th floor, you look down, the space is alive. Now that is something that a lot of designers, sometimes we get too busy, we just look at what we can see on the ground. But once again, taking perspective from the clients or the users of the environment, you have people staying right at the top, 50th story, looking down. How would it be? Is it going to be dead? Is it going to be quiet, monotonous? Does the lighting, footpath lighting on the floor, light up the canopy of the trees so that people from the top, when they look down, they see that the place is actually operational? So that's something that we look at as well. And well, I particularly love this project because we work with our factories, our suppliers, to OEM products. Well, 99% of the time, we need to light up the space as how it should be. But there's always this 1%, I was just sharing with Tanaka-san, right, that we want to be like an artist, add in some crazy element that is original to the whole space, something that the world cannot find, something that other buildings do not have. That is what makes us unique as an award-winning lighting consultant as well. And well, it makes us feel that work is not so boring. So this is it, something that we OEM, a dandelion. Other than that, yes, we've light up, we're a principal lighting consultant for a lot of major brands in the world, right from Cartier, Chopard, they bring us all over the world, and that's why we work with all our factories, our suppliers, friends, to co-create products, solutions, lighting concepts that can materialize into something physical. Other than that, we light up sales galleries of a lot of condominiums. We work with designers, architects, homeowners, end consumers, landlords, in creating the space. Whether you have different kinds of floor tiles, to different kinds of wallpaper finishing, to different kinds of ceiling texture, that is something I feel as a lighting consultant, if you want to progress in your career, you need to be multidisciplinary and start absorbing all these different elements as well, on top of doing lighting simulation, lighting rendering, or even just specifying products. So sometimes we do that as well, where we study products, we look at all kinds of latest lighting equipment that the market has for efficiency, effectiveness as well. And lighting projection mapping, we play that as well. So, like I say, a little bit of Illuminating Asia is actually, the philosophy of our company is combining art, engineering, and technology, all three things together. And somehow lighting industry seems to have all these three elements just nice as it is. So that's why we're doing what we're doing still. And this is one picture that I particularly love. And that's what we try to create for our end consumers, people who step into the space that we light up. We want the people to be connected to the space and bring back memories that you yourself can remember, that holds true only to yourself. And I would think we would have done our job well, besides the fact of lighting it up appropriately. So with that, come to the end of our presentation. I hope I'm not too fast or too slow, but any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Tai. So it's time for you to scan the QR code and submit your questions. Mr. Tai, in your case studies, we found that lighting has integrated with environment elements such as water, stones, and trees. So is that your personal style or a main trend in Singapore? And how does it help creating an immersive and interactive experience?
Right, thank you for the question. I would say this style developed over the last 15 years, trying to stand out, survive, compete in an otherwise ever-changing architectural industry, I would say. So the whole idea of not just on stone, water, whatever, it's really very much on the landscape that we're trying to understand. And with that itself, we start to go deeper into not just different materials, but on whole, the environment, once again, back to that. And with that itself, we play with lighting. I would say the word is just play. We've been playing with lightings for the last, 20 years. So by playing with lightings and seeing how the lighting of different products interact and generate different results from different surfaces or, I would say, material, it gives us different perspective of how we would feel as a child, as an adult, as a grandparent. And from there, we combine it with, functional, practical element, whether is it for safety, aesthetics, and then we derive the whole lighting concept and solution altogether. So I would say it's a mix of everything, and clients buy into that. So that sort of like pushes us in the direction as well. Well, demand and supply, both hands needs to clap, and ever since we find that by doing so, our work is not so boring. Yeah, that's pretty much that.
Definitely. One more question. You just mentioned the Harbour Villa. It is a cultural rich site. And how did you respect its heritage value while creating a modern experience with lighting? And what advice would you give to the designers who want to merge art and smart technology in their projects?
Okay, so there's quite a few parts in that question. The first part I would say is very much as a lighting practitioner, we can try to be a bit like a conservation architect, appreciate the space that you're trying to light up, where your client engage you for. Now, Harbour Villa, this space is very interesting because in Hong Kong, there used to be a Harbour Villa as well, right? And Singapore has that second one. So firstly, we try to understand the history of that space over the last 80 years, 90 years, maybe about 100 years. And we try to figure it out over the years why that place is still there to the point that I, this young chap, can come in here and have some fun. So once you understand the history, and you know as a working professional, you always need to do budgeting for the client. There's always a cost impact to whatever. So you start to use whatever budget that the client has. You apply backwards to what is important on that site. Everything is important. That's what the client will tell you. But you are a professional. Based on the budget, you work backwards and you tell the client what to prioritize. Do you want excitement? Do you want safety? Do you just want general lighting? Or do you want a mix of everything? Now, when the project gets a lot more complicated, example, what client wants, yeah, I want safety, I want aesthetic, I want the place to stand out, I want it to be energetic, I want it to attract the young crowd coming back here again to this old forgotten space, then probably as designers ourselves, we have a lot more influence in telling the client what to do and how to do it, because it gets too complicated for them. They have other more busy things to get themselves working on. So that's where, as a lighting designer, you start to become more like a project manager, project director, not just on lighting, but on the whole project execution, telling client what to do, what to prioritize, how to move forward. Of course, we're not just a young startup that we're just focused on one element on lighting these days. So over the last 20 years in our practice, we have developed this full project management mindset. Like if this job is just a pure lighting enhancement, lighting refreshment, we are a lead, right? As a lead, we need to act and work like an architect, not as a lighting guy. So from there, the whole project management execution comes in, but this is still a lighting project. So with your lighting concept, animation, products, budgeting, you do what you need to tell the client what to do, right? And then the contractors will all just fall in. So that's where I think for a lighting designer, in terms of career progression, they can definitely look into this area beyond your subject matter expert, which you are already very good at, which is lighting.